And now there are Chinatown bus routes all over the United States that go from Chinese grocery stores in one town to another Chinese grocery store in another town. And they have really good deals, like in California, they have great deals to go to Vegas or Reno or to Yosemite. And you could just check online for Chinatown buses around the United States. And they're a great deal.
Okay, perfect. Well, so kind of moving on from transportation to accommodation, which is the next big chunk of your money when you're traveling. So how can you save on accommodations?
Well, there are different ways, and some people could do the youth hostel route. Some people don't want to do youth hostels. And as a matter of fact, youth hostels, they're not even called youth hostels anymore. The Association of the United States is just called Hosteling International, and those are dormitory-like accommodations where there might be 5 or 10 people in a room, and they're in bunk beds. And those can cost anywhere from about $15 to $20 a night, and they have, obviously, bathrooms and kitchens. Now, for people who want to use hotels, I suggest going on websites like Travelocity, Orbitz, Kayak, Hotels.com, or Hotwire, and booking hotels there. And you can also bid for your rooms. Like, you could go on Priceline, and let's say you want to go to New York City, and most of the hotels in New York City are, whatever, $200, $250 a night. Well, you can bid from about 40% less than that and see, where they'll place you. The thing to remember with Priceline is that once you give them your credit card and you say that you would be willing to live in to stay in a hotel in these different neighborhoods and stay at a hotel of whatever 2 or 3 stars, as soon as they find you a hotel, they charge your credit card and there's no cancellation. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay. There's a website called biddingfortravel.com, and you can go there and you can see what people have bid on Priceline in the past for car rentals, for hotels, for airline travel, and so you can get an idea of what is a safe amount of money to bid for a hotel room.
Okay, and that was biddingfortravel.com?
Correct.
Okay. So what about moving on to food and beverages when you're out and about? How do you save money on that?
One of the great things is to get this, it's called an immersion heater, and it's this electric coil, which, people who've gone, actually not even camping, you wouldn't use it. It's this little coil, and you plug it into the socket, and it boils water for you. So it's a great way to make your morning coffee or your tea or your hot chocolate, or if you like top ramen, or you can even boil an egg. So that's a great way, because if you think about it, in the United States, a lot of times you pay $1.50 or $2 for a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Well, if you're going to have your morning coffee and then your morning tea, that's already, it adds up after a while.
Right.
So if you have an immersion heater, that helps. And then if you bring a thermos with you, you can keep that, like a half-liter thermos. It's very easy to keep in your bag and take along with you. And I always talk about snacks. Because let's say you have a really busy day and you want to go from this museum, you want to go there, and you don't want to buy a $10 sandwich because that's all there is in your touristy neighborhood. Well, bring snacks with you. Bring a bag of nuts, trail mix, crackers, dried fruits, or fruits. Or go to the grocery store and buy cold cuts if you need meat or cheese or peanut butter or tuna fish, whatever, and just make sandwiches to bring with you. And some hotels, or if you're in a hostel, they have kitchens, and so you can store your food in there and keep it cold. Or,
right.
You can warm it up. That's really important.
Right, yeah, the grocery stores are a great way. When my husband and I traveled through Europe, we did a lot of shopping at the little markets for fresh fruit and, baguettes and some cheese and slices of meat, and that was perfect for us and very inexpensive. So grocery stores or markets are always, I agree, a great way to save costs on food. Now, what about saving? Are there any other tips for saving money on any other travel? Just we're wrapping things up here, but any other major tips that we're leaving out?
I would say one of the major tips is also with communication, because if you're calling from a hotel, let's say, they can charge you an exorbitant amount of money to make a phone call abroad. So I buy Skype credit. When I have Skype, it's SKYPE, and I use it on my computer to make calls for free, to my other friends from Skype. But I also buy credit so I can make phone calls. So to call to the United States or anywhere in the world, it's 2 cents a minute. So I used that when I was working in Qatar. I just called my family for 2 cents a minute using my computer. Now, if you don't have a computer, you go to an internet cafe, and most internet cafes that are equipped for foreigner or for tourists will have headsets, and they already have Skype onto the computer, and you just log in your password and you make phone calls. So that's a great way to save money on communication. Also, another thing is if you're traveling, if you have a GSM phone where you put in a SIM card,
right.
If you go to another country and you know you're going to be there for a while, it probably makes sense to buy a local SIM card so you can make phone calls, because like in Europe, they don't have coin phones anymore. You have to buy a phone card. Well, if you're going to be 5 days in one country and 10 days in another country and 5 days in another country, you don't want to keep on buying these phone cards. You're just going to make, short phone calls or something. So it's good to have a local phone number so people, even if they don't want to call you because it's too expensive, they can send you a text message. Or, it's just like a safety thing. So that's a really good way, I think, to save money.
Well, perfect. Well, where can listeners purchase your book to get more tips? I know you have a lot of tips in there, so.
Yes. Sure. So the book is called Travel Happy Budget Low, and it's available now on Amazon or BarnesandNobles.com. You can order it through your bookstore. You can also go to my website, which is createyourworldbooks.com, or you can just put in Travel Happy Budget Low, and they'll be directed to my website, and you can buy it through my website. And people buy it through my website. I sign the book, and I send them to them.
Oh, perfect. Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me on Dreamlist Radio. Great tips and advice. Now, for those of you listening, if you'd like to hear this show or previous shows on Dreamlist Radio, please visit dreamlistradio.com. That's DreamList radio.com. You can also download all Dreamlist Radio shows on iTunes. And to read about other inspirational products and services, please visit my website, dreamlistmedia.com. That's dreamlistmedia.com. So I'm Melissa Borkhorst signing off. Thank you all for listening to Dreamlist Radio. Now get out there and make your dreams come true.